Hi, YouTube family. Lisa A. Romano here, and I am, as you know, a life coach for adult children of alcoholics. And what I try to do on this channel is to take really complex information and break it down so that essentially everyone out there can heal and clear these negative energies that have plagued so many of us as adult children of alcoholics for so long. Why do we want to clear these energies? Because it's a new day and it's a new earth. And what I mean by that is that the earth that we're experiencing today, vibrationally, is not the same earth that was in place 100 years ago, or 500 years ago, or 1,000 years ago. The earth has definitely changed. The energies of the earth have changed, and so many of us are aware that we're on this very specific spiritual, emotional, and vibrational journey. So, as adult children of alcoholics, we have been duped, in my opinion, doubly, because in order to transcend old energies, you have to know what you feel. And my work is very specific because I know that adult children of alcoholics, because I am one, adult children of alcoholics have not been taught how to tune into how they feel. In fact, we have been taught to disown what we feel, to disengage. Many of us lived in survival. And so when you're living in states of survival, your cortisol levels are really, really high. You shut down, your brain shuts down, anxiety sets in, and you literally live life like, how a bird kind of like pecks and looks up, pecks and looks up, pecks and looks up, because he's always waiting for a hawk to come down and like swoop him up, or he's waiting for a cat to pounce on him. Emotionally, that's how many of us grew up. Now, what happens when we grow up in those types of situations is we get so pulled off and out of alignment with our core. So let's talk about that a little bit. I got a great email from a lovely young woman who asked me to address why it is so many adult children of alcoholics have eating disorders and panic attacks and things like that. And having someone who has suffered myself with panic disorder and eating disorders, I totally understand. I get it. So here I am. Now, I'm going to give you my spiel and my understandings of it. Some psychiatrist somewhere might not agree with me. You have to learn to begin to appreciate and honor what resonates with you, dear one. Resonance is basically energy alignment. When you hear me say something, or you hear a song on the radio, or if you hear even a chord, what we have to start appreciating is who we are on a quantum level. And on a quantum level, we're all waves. Waves of what? We use waves of energy. And although there are some people out there who are very logically based, and they will, want to diagnose you in a specific way, that's, if that resonates with you, that's awesome. I'm not knocking that. But my hope is that as a people, as humanity, as we begin to transcend these old energies, we really begin tuning into ourselves. We really begin appreciating what we feel on a vibrational level. And I'm getting goosebumps right now because what I'm saying is resonating with me. It's going to my core. And I believe that is in alignment with higher self. And I believe that my higher self is your higher self. And I believe that essentially we are all one. And so to get back to what happens to us as ACOAs, and specifically females who come from homes that we've been taught that we're not enough, and why it is that so many of us suffer with eating disorders and alike. Okay, so at our core, we are an atom. ATOM, and we use ADAM, meaning that we are on a quantum level, we use atoms, ATOMS, but in the world of the physical and time-space reality, this place called Earth, which is time and space, it's in linear existence, here we are called atom, ADAM, to represent that in the physical, which is represented on the quantum plane as atoms, ATOMS, or energy. So essentially, we are atoms of energy that make up physical matter that we know as man atom. Okay, got it? I know you do. Now, think about an atom, and I did not make a diagram today, so you're going to have to bear with me. If you do your own studies and your own research, and I suggest that you do, an atom has a nucleus, it has a core. And inside the nucleus are protons and neutrons. Now, the constant of the atom is the proton. The proton is positively charged. So you, at your core, dear one, are positive, pure vibrational energy. Now, on a quantum level, minus the ego, which is a product of the material world, stick with me. On a quantum level, you is one fine, amazing, positive flow of energy. So what happened? So this is what happens. We beautiful beings, these beautiful manifestations of quantum energy that we are when we're born. We little baby newborns, right? Because that's what we are. We're these bundles of quantum energy wrapped up in this physical matter called skin. And so here we are. What happens when we're born to people who is stuck in the ego? They pull us out of alignment. So what happens is we're these little babies, we're these newborns, and we're perfect, and we is in alignment. We cry and we expect to get fed, and we cry and we expect our diaper to get changed. And so we come here expecting and thinking like, wah, we get our needs met. So what happens when they don't get met? We get pulled out of alignment. So now the interesting thing about an atom is that what is not constant in an atom are the electrons that exist on the orb or the outer shell of the atom. So that is what changes. But the constant, the protons, don't change. So the center charge of the atom, called the proton, doesn't change. So no matter what happens in life, that's your core. Now, what's going to change, what is inconsistent, are our electrons. And you can think of them in terms of your emotions. Okay, your emotions. Now, every scientist out there and every therapist, every psychiatrist, every science-based human being alive will say things like, I feel light today, or I feel positive today, or I feel negative today, or he's positive, she's negative. What a negative conversation. What are we talking about? What's negative? The energy that the conversation is negative. That's really what people are saying. Or she's a positive person. What are you saying? Her energy is positive. So if we can just begin understanding that at our core we're positive, but what is inconsistent are our electrons and or our emotions. And our emotions are what dictates the charge of the electrons. Now, when you was a little bit of baby and you was a child, like, you don't know any better than what you're being taught. And so when you are conditioned by people who don't mirror back to you a sense of love, the message is, I'm not loved or I'm not worthy. Now, that thought, based on that experience, okay, which is really being translated to you on a quantum level in terms of a vibe, your parents are giving you a negative vibe. Now, what will happen is you will absorb that negative information, and you will, because you're also psychological, presume that you are the reason for why they're rejecting you. So can you see how that conflict between who you are at a core level and what your reality or what your perceptions of your reality, what they're doing to you in terms of being in alignment with self? So this is your constant. This is who you are, right? That's who you are as a constant. Your core is constant. It's created to all that. It's connected to all that is. So can you see how being pulled out of that and having your emotions toyed with, or having you, what are you doing? You translate, you transmit, and you receive energy from other beings. Can you see how when other beings are transmitting negative energy towards you, and can you see how you as an itty bitty baby, a little toddler, you're receiving this information, perceiving this information, and digesting it on a quantum level, and the emotions and the thoughts that you're taking in are relaying the information to you that you're not good enough. So there's a big separation that takes place between you, your core self, and your idea or your perception of self. Now, out here, dear ones, out here, this is ego. This is all ego. This is your core, but this is ego. So you have you feel rejected by mom, you get pulled further away from your core. Something else happens, you're 12 years old and you begin being attracted to boys, and then you feel rejected, you get pulled away from your core. And further and further, and further away. So as we age, these experiences that we have begin to mirror this conflict that we have with self, because we create as we go. So however you feel about self on a quantum level, on an emotional level, which was received from your experiences as a child or created through your perceptions of your experience, of the vibes that you receive from the people in your experience, that's how you defined whether or not you were worthy or not. That will become how you project. That will become what you project, and your reality will mirror that. So in terms of eating disorders and alike, what happens is we feel so out of control and out of alignment with self that we, on a psychological level, feel all this anxiety, and we're seeking in the ego, we want to control something, because we're looking for this peace, we're looking for this cohesive feeling. And so we have to also understand we're injured by a familial system, mom and dad, and their generations of stuff, right? Dark energies and the old earth energies. So we've been affected by that. Then we grow up and we go to school. So then we're affected by, our teachers and our peers. We're affected by our religions. Our religions plague us. So depending on what religious background we're a part of, that will become part of our processing. How do we process that now? And then we have society. We have the information and the images that come at us every day through media, through radio, through reality television, whatever. So we begin to get bombarded with all these other different ideas. And so we're constantly seeking to have power over or to feel in control of something. And so in the best case scenario, we would have felt comfortable controlling self. We would have felt in alignment with self. But because we were born to dysfunctional people, we way out here. So way out here in ego, we try to control what we can. So we try to control our weight. We try to control our food. We're seeking some sense of power over our situations. And what will happen is, because the brain is addictive and the brain can be compulsive, and without a true policing and without a true connection to higher self, what will happen is these behaviors become addictive. These thoughts become addictive. Anxiety is the norm. Where does the anxiety come from? It comes from not owning self, not trusting self, not feeling worthy enough, and constantly seeking outside of self for control that you can never get. Dear ones, anorexia, bulimia, depression, anxiety, all comes because we're trying to control things outside of self that we cannot control. And why are we doing that? Because we were taught to seek validation outside of self. We were taught that we didn't have any control over our environment. We were taught that we didn't have any control over our emotions. We were, in many cases, our parents used inappropriate power over us. So we were not respected. So we were not infused with the idea that what we thought and what we think and how we feel is important. And so we have this conflict. We disown self. And that creates a plethora of emotional issues. And don't forget, we're quantum, but we're also trying to exist vibrationally in a physical world. And so we are going to be impacted by other people's energies until we learn to clear them. And that's what I do. I help you through these videos and through my books and through my coaching, online group coaching. I do one-to-one coaching. I do 2-hour quantum healing sessions where that's for people who understand the ACOA stuff and also want to quantum leap to ascend in terms of healing. So I hope that helps you, dear one. And again, reach out, send me your emails at healingselfesteem@gmail.com. Please check out my books. Many of them are available for free downloads at audible.com. I have an upcoming group coaching class that you can get involved with by shooting me an email at healingselfesteem.com. Please listen to my blog talk radios. Upcoming in 2 weeks, I'll go live and I'm available for your question and answers. Again, my name is Lisa A. Romano. Check me out at www.healingselfesteem.com.